Day one of Tennessee Titans training camp is in the books, and I've got some news, some notes, and some nuggets that I want to go over with everyone watching right now. And let's start things off with the new guy on the block, DeAndre Hopkins. He makes his Titans practice debut, but our first time kind of seeing him on the field in a Titans uniform, albeit just a practice one. But he got off to a strong start with Ryan Tannehill. Good connection, 3 receptions. I know it doesn't seem like a big number, but hey, 3 is the starting point. Now, the interesting twist is that DeAndre Hopkins actually left practice midway through to catch a flight. Mike Vrabel would later say it's a personal thing, and he's going to miss the next day or two. It sounds like maybe it's moving his family or moving someone out to Tennessee. We never got a very clear black and white explanation as to why he's going to miss the next few days and why he had to miss the second half of practice today. But that is the latest on DeAndre Hopkins. He reported, and great to see him there. Good to see him already getting a connection with Derrick Henry, who, by the way, this kind of goes without saying, he looked awesome the first day of training camp, but that's the king for you, so no surprise. It's only July, but it's nice to see DeAndre Hopkins get off to a nice start, even if it was only for 45 minutes or an hour. This is the kind of content or the type of, headlines where if it's good news, you run with it. If it's bad news, it's July. Who cares? It's training camp. Don't make a big deal out of it. You got to kind of spin it to fit your narrative. And right now, the good news is fitting our narrative. So we're going to run with it. But yeah, good to see DeAndre Hopkins start to get a nice connection with Ryan Tannehill. We won't see him for the next day or two, but he should be back soon. Now, it did get me thinking that DeAndre Hopkins could get 1,000 yards. And I was going to ask you guys, do you think DeAndre Hopkins will get 1,000 yards? But then I was thinking, before A.J. Brown, who was the last Titans player to get 1,000 receiving yards? This is going to be today's trivia question, so wait until the very end of the show where we will reveal the answer. Don't fast forward, no cheaters. But let me know who the last player was to get 1,000 receiving yards, not named A.J. Brown. Second takeaway I've got from training camp, Ryan Tannehill, he looks sharp. He needs to silence some of the naysayers and the doubters after a down year last year with, unfortunately, an injury plaguing him throughout it. But in his first day at training camp, Ryan Tannehill went 9 for 10, so you really can't ask much more than that. You're not going to get a lot of big storylines after 45-minute, hour-and-a-half practices, especially when there aren't even pads on for the first few days of training camp and they're glorified walkthroughs, essentially. But you'd still like to see him go 9 for 10 instead of 1 for 10. So you can kind of check the box of Ryan Tannehill, best shape of life, baby. Now, the third takeaway I've got is Harold Landry is back. Sort of. We did get a good glimpse. We got a good show of Harold Landry, but not quite sure if he's truly at 100% just yet because there was no live contact or anything like that, and that's a much better measuring tool to figure out where Landry is. But the team reporter, Jim Wyatt, did write on Harold Landry, and here's what he said. Landry was all smiles during the stretch period, and he looked good in individual drills as well. When Landry took the field with the defense on the first play of a team period, Titans safety Kevin Byard could be heard saying, "Welcome back, Harold." And this team needs him back, right? They need the numbers he put up in 2021 when he went off for 12 sacks because this Titans pass rush last year was sorely missing their former first-round pick. So great to see Harold Landry back on the field. Looks like he's on the right track to be ready to go week 1, which I know myself, I get caught up in, oh, you got hurt last year? Well, surely over the offseason, you magically got 100%. And that tends not to always be the case. But with Landry, it looks like he's on a good track to be ready to go for the start of the year. Now, if you enjoy the content we provide here at Titans Today, consider subscribing because the more subscribers we get at Chat Sports, well, that decides how much studio space a channel gets. So if you want more Tennessee Titans YouTube content, hit the sub button down below, and that way we can get you guys more videos. My fourth takeaway from training camp, day 1, the QB2 battle is heating up. If you thought Will Levis was just going to run away with it because he was a second-round pick, I got some bad news for you. Malik Willis is doing a good job of fighting off the former Kentucky Wildcat. Here's what Wyatt had to say on these two QBs. Willis threw some bullets early and was 4 of 4 in the opening period. He completed his first 6 passes before a pair of incompletions and finished the day 6 of 8. Willis also tucked the ball and turned in some nice runs. Quarterback Will Levis also got off to a nice start, connecting on all 6 of his pass attempts. It was an all-around good day for the QBs. When it comes to which quarterback is going to take this job and win the QB2 battle, I'm going to roll with Malik Willis. This could go one of 2 ways, but for me, I think Malik Willis does have the inside run or inside edge because, well, he's got the experience. And I was never very big fan of Will Levis coming out of college. The Levis and Willis is going to give me a headache for the next forever long they're on the same team. But I'm going to roll with Malik Willis. Let me know who you think ends up winning the QB2 battle down in the comment section. 5th and final takeaway from day 1, don't sleep on Arden Key. This was a very good sneaky free agent acquisition by Rand Carthon in Tennessee, right? He's got the familiarity with Carthon, but Arden Key, 4.5 sacks last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he's going to be a big part of this defense. 5 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovery. This is a name that if you want to sound smart at the bar, I'm not talking like a Broadway bar, I'm talking actual Nashville bar, just toss out Arden Key as someone to keep an eye on. And then when October rolls around and November, comes next, and all of a sudden he's already up to 5 or 6 sacks, he's going to be a good pillar of this defense. I'm in on a career season for Arden Key. I think he could break his single-season sack record at 4.5, and he could put up maybe not quite 10 in year 1, but put me down for 8 sacks for Arden Key. I think he's got that type of capability, especially working with Harold Landry, who draws so much attention. He is going to have a good opportunity to flourish on this Tennessee defense. Now, he was also included in some offseason award winners. I never quite got exactly which award each of these players won, but we got some notable names and definitely a good clue as to who the leaders are in the locker room or who Mike Vrabel has a big crush on. Ryan Tannehill, Thomas Odukuya, Corey Levin, Jaden Peavy, Jack Gibbons, and Arden Key, the new guy, winning an award definitely speaks volumes to the type of work he has been putting in this offseason. So before we get on out of here, you know the deal. We have our trivia question to wrap up the show. Last player to rack up 1,000 receiving yards, not named A.J. Brown. You got to go back to 2015 when tight end Swiss Army knife Delanie Walker got to 1,088 yards. So that was the last player not named Brown to reach 1,000 yards receiving. In case you're wondering, the last wide receiver to do it, Kendall Wright, 1,079 yards. Kind of reminds me of just those Titans days with him and Nate Washington. What a duo about 10 years ago. But those are the last 2 guys not named A.J. Brown to get over 1,000 receiving yards. That will do it for us on today's Titans Today. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, go ahead and subscribe. We'll keep you guys in the loop all year long.